Savannah. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another edition of Kandily Kesha. It has been a busy season. We are rounding out April here in Savannah, and boy, have we been through a lot. It's campaign season, y'all. It's campaign season, and tonight we will meet a candidate for school board president, Ms. Ty Whiteley. She will be joining us shortly. But first, I want to remind you as we approach campaign season that we do have an important city election coming up where I have announced my bid for mayor of the city of Savannah. Yes, yes, yes. That is the good news. The good news is the bad news was wrong. I'm still here, very vibrant and dedicated to that which means most to the citizens of Savannah. And we have a lot going on. First and foremost, nothing is more important to me than crime. That is the most pressing issue facing our community today. It is the pervasive ill that keeps most of us worried in terms of our safety because the amount of crime, the type of crime, and the level of crime that we are experiencing here in Savannah is essentially a public health issue. And what matters to Savannahans matters most to me. And of course, when it comes to the dynamic and the elements as it relates to crime, I'm most concerned because our city government has been ill responsive to it. So I will share with you what I just learned of literally a few minutes ago as I was making my post on Facebook about tonight's show and our special guest, our school board candidate for president, Ms. Ty Whiteley. And so among the information, a lot of it I saw online was information related to our response to a violent weekend. So the headline reads, and this is from a publication called Savannah Agenda. I'm not sure who it is, but I do know I don't watch or follow local news very much as it relates to our print and television mediums because it's just not very reliable or credible. And I don't find it very helpful or useful. But this account on social media was that the Savannah City Council is set to consider a night management plan following another violent weekend. So, first and foremost, you should know that this literally, my perusal online, is my first acknowledgement as a sitting council person for the entire city of Savannah in an at-large post that I was made aware of a plan for night management with regard to our response to violence. Now, I will say to you, during the last city council meeting, I requested on the cuff of a very, very violent month. I requested that we go into executive session as we had received, again, not through this administration's leadership, but through the street committee, if you will, we received a scathing report of an account of the morale or lack thereof of our police officers. In addition, that report made reference to things that we should be concerned about that I feel contributes to the fact that we are experiencing these deficiencies within our city as it relates to crime. So when I made a request in an open meeting, because I had behind closed doors on several occasions via email and text messages to our city council, as well as to our administration's leadership, the mayor and the city manager, to go into executive session. And I will include the city attorney, Bates Lovett, since he stated it was his decision not to go into executive session. You, as citizens of Savannah, should know that we, as sitting council members, go into executive session to discuss matters that are relevant to property purchases, real estate, if you will, as well as any issues related to personnel. And so the last I checked, the city attorney was our employee. Might I add, he was an employee that the mayor decided to offer and extend a contractual agreement outside of the normal hiring practice of the city of Savannah. So everybody who works for the city of Savannah have to go through an application process. That means you have to see a notice of a job, see it posted, and then you have to make application by way of completing an online application, submitting your resume, your references, the whole nine. But no, not this city attorney. This city attorney, via the mayor's extension, was given privilege in that he was able to become a shoo-in and just given the job. He didn't have to apply for it. And so this individual, who I feel does the bidding for the mayor, and he tells him all of the answers that the mayor wants to hear as it relates to the legality of what and how we do on city council, which is why we are in such poor shape interpersonally as a council. And so this individual has decided in his infinite wisdom that a sitting city council for the entire city of Savannah, the largest revenue generating city in the state, only second to Atlanta, he decided that it's not in the best interest of this council to go into executive session. Now you see why our city is in the shape that she's in. Now you see why we have unilateral decisions that cancel an MLK Day parade, that cancel a rock and roll marathon. And regardless of what side any council member takes up, it should be the sitting council's responsibility to have the entire community, their constituency, weigh in. And in that weigh in, we get to decide the pros and the cons. We get to decide what we negotiate, what we collaborate on, what do we give, what do we take away, what are the adverse implications, and what are those pieces related to attributes that these offerings bring to the city. And so I will say to you, it was a unilateral decision of the mayor to cancel the Rock and Roll Marathon. It was a unilateral decision of the mayor to cancel the MLK Day Parade. It was a unilateral decision of the mayor for so many of the things that we face here in the city. Our city administration's government has been hijacked. Our city of Savannah administration has been hijacked by an individual who exhibits tyrannical behavior that is not consistent with the charter of the city of Savannah. Therein lies the problems. It doesn't matter who you're for or who you are against. What I will say to you is we should not relegate the freedoms and the safety and security of our streets. We should not relegate it to an individual by way of friendship, relationship, and kinship. It is high time that we hold elected officials, whether they are our friends, our church members, our colleagues, or they taught our kids in Sunday school. We need to be about the business of holding your politicians and elected servants accountable and remind them that they are exactly what I said, servants. But unfortunately, we have an individual in leadership in this city who would rather be served. We are down over 100 police officers. Over 100 police officers. And that's the secret, y'all. All of you rock and roll marathon people who wanted to host her, you really want to know why we can't host a rock and roll marathon? Newsflash. The secret is we don't have the bearing capacity by way of law enforcement. We can't provide the oversight, the security, the directional support. We are barely able to keep up with the events at the arena. If we are down over 100 police officers and we're hosting multiple events a month at the arena, and it takes in excess of 50 to 60 police officers to direct traffic, can somebody create a volunteer program to direct traffic at the arena so that my police officers who we require to protect and serve the city can get the work? Please, in Jesus' name, please. Can we do that? And so when we are not focusing on those primary issues, we get lost in the shuffle. Like nobody's paying attention to the fact that not only are we down 100 officers, we have to count that one. There's one police officer who's dedicated and devoted. This is a sworn police officer that the city of Savannah has invested lots of money in to get him credentialed, to get him certified, and get him ready to serve the citizens of Savannah. But he is assigned to serve the mayor. He fetches his breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And as of late, he's now opening and closing his door to a city-issued vehicle. A city-issued vehicle. A city-issued vehicle he is not supposed to have because he also receives a car stipend. And so what we want to do is continuously bring you all of those things that are so glaring within this administration, but for whatever reason, our media affiliates do not think that it's necessary to bring you news that matters. Instead, they want to bring you news that's sensational. Well, nothing is more sensational than crime. This last week, we had an individual who's not a resident of Savannah killed in our coveted downtown corridors, specifically in the tourism district, the entertainment zone, as they call it. And this is where we said, what is it going to take for Savannah to get serious about her response to crime? What is it going to take for Savannah's leaders to get serious about responding to the crime that so heavily plagues her? And you know what? As Dr. Jamal Touré said, which was cringe-worthy when he said it, it's going to take a visitor, a tourist, or someone of another hue getting killed for us to do something about it. And in true fashion, what do we see? What do we see circulating in social media? What is it that we see? The City of Savannah Council set to consider night management plan following another violent weekend. So you tell me, my fine citizens of Savannah, what's the difference between this previous violent weekend and the violent weekends we have experienced, where we have lost countless lives of African American men and boys who are residents of the city of Savannah? By all accounts, they're taxpayers. Their family members are taxpayers. But no, it wasn't important enough for us to respond or do something about it until this individual of a different hue and who's not from this community is killed. Savannah lives matter. All Savannah lives matter. Gun violence is a public health issue. Our concern should not be restricted to geographic location and the race of an individual. As I said before, the issues we have related to race and the divide in this community is perpetuated by the decision-making of the persons who are in leadership. You see, we don't have as much of a racism problem as much as we have an elitism and a classism problem. This city is mostly managed and led by African Americans. The people who suffer most in this city are African Americans. So you see, when you have leaders who look like you and you think are for you, it's not enough. No longer is it enough to simply be Black and be in office. You send people in local offices because of what they represent. You send people in office because of their talent, because of their deeds, because of the worthiness they bring to the office, not because of necessarily who they align themselves with politically. The nation's politics are changing. And I know you're either in or you're out, you're Democrat or you're Republican. But you know what? When it comes to our locality here in the city of Savannah, when your recycle bin is not picked up or returned, you don't care who's in leadership, Democrat or Republican. All you want is your recycling bin back. If your streets, your sidewalks are not paved and straight, if your taxes are increasing, if the infrastructure to our roads, the health and safety of our community as it relates to crime, that's not black or white. That's not Democrat or Republican, male or female. Those are just the basic tenets of what your tax dollars are supposed to pay for. And so it's high time that we get off of those low horses and rise up and let's again show this community's elected officials who and what we are all about. We are about a community. What do you expect of your elected servants? You expect for them to advocate for you, to be there when those items present on the agenda that will pose anything related to what would take away from the harmony of your community, like the Olympus neighborhood, the West Chatham community, the West Side with the Weeping Time, Yamacraw, Clearview. You want elected servants who are going to stand in the gap and say, not my residents of Savannah, not my taxpayers, not the people who have poured in and invested in this community. That's who you want. You want someone who's going to educate you. No, you don't need education to the extent that you have to have politics broken down for dummies. No, our electorate are not dummies. You need education related to what goes on behind the closed doors of and under the gold dome. You need someone who's going to come back and tell you exactly what's going on. That's the education you need. You need someone who is not going to hide behind the dinners at the Chatham Club or the rides on the private jet or get the payout of the fancy car lease at some of our local BMW and Mercedes dealerships. You want someone who is going to educate you and provide information that you can actually use and trust. And then finally, you want someone in elected office who is going to serve you and inspire you. Inspire you to engage in your local government, inspire you to make sure that you are protecting Savannah and making sure that not only is she here for you to enjoy, but for our families far into the future. So, by way of a recap, it was a unilateral decision to cancel the Rock and Roll Marathon. We had nothing to do with it as a sitting council. It was a unilateral decision to cancel the MLK Day Parade. We had nothing to do with it. And so these are all calls and concerns that I have received. Related to crime, I'm trying, y'all. Go back and watch the city council meetings. Look at the workshop, the last workshop we had with our police chief. You will see how it was rushed. You will see how the mayor attempts to insulate the chief. You will see when you watch the workshop with Housing Authority Manager Earlene Davis, you will see how he attempts to insulate her and to keep questions away from her or to keep us from asking those pressing questions, those questions that we ask that educate you. When I ask questions on council, I don't ask because I don't know. I know what a CIP is, a capital improvement plan, so don't stick that in my box again. I ask because I want my public to hear. If you're bold enough and brave enough to do the acts and to do these deeds, you should be bold enough and brave enough to face the public. And I can't help because I'm courageous enough and I care enough to ask the tough questions, regardless of the pushback, regardless of the judgment and the ridicule. I received a call today. um, People are asking, are you really running for mayor? Are you still running for mayor? Yes, I am. I am running for mayor. I'm not running against the person who actually now occupies the mayor's seat. I am running to occupy the post of mayor for the 68th mayor of the city of Savannah. Okay? But what I do not intend to do, I do not intend to sell my soul to this work. What we cannot continue to do is fight for the people and then turn around and fight the very people that I serve. And so I had an individual who is so supportive, very, very supportive of me, very, very helpful to me, call and express concern about what people are saying and what they want me to do in terms of dialing it back and toning it down because you're running for mayor now and we really want you to get in there. We don't need them saying these things about you. And so I thought about it and I asked the question, I said, well, tell me, what is it that I said or I did that concerns them or causes this level of judgment and criticism, critique, if you will? And in true fashion, he responds and says, well, it's, some of the things they said you say, or they said they saw. I said, okay, here's the question I ask to everyone who approaches me. Tell me, are you speaking to me from the place of what you heard on WSAV, WTOC, WJCL, Fox, or you read in the paper? Or are you coming to me from a place of what you actually heard and saw in the city council meeting? Because what I cannot do, I can't compete with sensationalism of sound bites. I can't do it and I won't do it. Right now in America, women, African American women in particular, are the most educated, advanced women, citizens, I should say, in America. We are matriculating rates higher than any other demographic, but we're also dying. And so what I said to this individual, we're dying at rates higher than those demographics as well, in some regard as professionals, because when we get there, in order to keep it, it's killing us. Heart attacks and stress. And so what I have to commit myself to doing and being is not concerned with what anybody else thinks of me or says about me. It's none of my business. My business is for the people who appreciate my level of advocacy, compassion, and passion. And I said to the individual, you know what? I've never received a complaint for a woman who's living in the Motel 6 off of Stevenson, or the father who I encountered with 2, 3 children and don't know how their next night is going to be paid for. They've never asked me to dial it back or to tone it down, or came to me with an account of something they heard or saw. I've never been approached by that mother who had to bury her child prematurely due to senseless gun violence on the street. I've never been asked to tone it down or shut up by the individuals, over 30% of Savannah's population who work within the hospitality industry, making $10 to $12 an hour cleaning toilets and making beds. I've never been asked by the residents of Clearview who were forced out. I've never been asked by the advocates of the Weeping Time in Yamacraw to chill out or just not say anything. So I said to him, I can't serve those who are secure in the false security of their sanctity. Undoubtedly, the individuals who are most vocal and most critical of me are individuals who don't need what I'm advocating for, or they don't care about people who need what I'm advocating for. And in that regard, you care about your whole community. So you see, where I'm concerned, we are committed. We are committed to continuing to go forth with a level of advocacy, the level of education and inspiration that we told you we were coming with. There's no secret. Go back and look at the reels of the debates. You'll see that I am doing exactly what I said I was going to do. I just did not anticipate being faced with the resistance that I'm faced with, in that, by all accounts, we should all be on the same team, and that's Team Savannah. And so, listen, without further ado, my guest is here. My guest is here. My guest is here. I do want to say this. Miss Ty Whiteley, candidate for school board president, is joining us today. And I do want to say that I did invite Mr. Todd Rhodes as well as Mr. Roger Ross, and they both had conflicts for this evening, and they stated that they will join us another time. But you committed to tonight, and we are so grateful for you being here. And so, if you all will allow me to jump off of my soapbox and give this kind woman the floor, Miss Whiteley, I wanted to have each of you on basically to introduce you to my platform of Kandily Kesha, and give you the opportunity to just tell everybody about yourself, why you're running, what inspires you, in addition to what you are most looking for in terms of the changes with as it relates to your leadership. And if there was any pressing questions, when I was on the campaign trail, there was always a question or a couple of questions. And afterwards, I say, oh, I wish I had said this. Oh, I should have said this. Or oftentimes your opponent gets to get one little dig in and you didn't get that dig. And so if there's anything that you want to give us by way of a follow-up to one of the debates, but we did not want to make this a debate and truly wanted to extend my platform to each of you, to give you the opportunity to just tell us about yourself and what can we expect.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me. I am born and raised in Savannah, Georgia. So I am a product of this school system. Spencer Elementary, Duran, Savannah High, and then Savannah Arts. I had a really good experience in this school system. And as a result, we brought our children back here. And I believe that if we work hard enough, that we can have the very best school system in Georgia. I have been a PTA president, PTA treasurer, school council president. I've written grants for schools. I am an early education administrator. So my husband and I are owners of Chunks Learning Center. And our whole purpose is to get kids ready for elementary school. So why am I running for school board president? We have a misnomer in the community that our school system is a bad school system and that we don't produce good products. And, I take that seriously because I am a product and my children are products. So are you. We have so many leaders that are products of our school system and that are doing good
Blue
things.
Blue jackets.
Blue jackets. We're doing good things in coming from the school system, and I have been afforded so many opportunities. You know, in elementary school, I learned French and Spanish and Japanese. In 10th grade at Savannah High, you know, I was a classically trained clarinetist. I went and played for the Queen at Savannah High School. So those opportunities are available, and I
Wow.
want to expand those opportunities for all of our kids here in Chatham County, because I believe if we equip them with the tools necessary, that they can go on to do whatever they want, whether they want to go into the military or start their own business or go into a 4-year college or a technical college, or just go into the workforce. You know, the experience that I had here allowed me to go on to Morris Brown College, where I got an $80,000 undergraduate degree for about $400 of out of pocket costs. That was because I was trained as a clarinetist. That is because I had a really good foundation here. So I was able to get scholarships. And so when people talk about our kids as if, you know, we aren't producing a good product, we need to say we have potential here. We have the best and brightest students here. What can we do to get them to the finish line and to jumpstart them for the rest of their lives so that they become productive citizens of this community? And so I am running because I've been here. I've navigated as a student. I am now navigating as a parent in the school system. And I think it's really important that we have a voice of someone who believes in us and someone who sees the greatness in our school system, not negating, you know, the things that are going on, because we do have some issues, but how are we going to solve those issues? We're going to solve them by working together, by looking at best practices, by continuing to work to make sure our students are great. If we're looking down our nose at our students, we can't help them. Um, so I'm running to bring that perspective to the policy making, because the policies that I follow and the teachers and the staff and my kids every day, they're made at the board level. The budget, we have about $1.5 billion that funnels through our school system when we're talking about eSPLOS and just the general budget. Where are we going to put those dollars to make sure that our students are learning and that they're gaining the information that they need and the skills that they need? And, you know, accountability, we need to make sure that we're communicating with the public, that we're inviting small businesses in, that we're communicating with, you know, the teachers and the community leaders. All of those things are done, you know, at the board level. So I think it's time, you know, for us to work together and get to the business of making our students better and educating parents about the opportunities that we have in the school system.
And so you laid out or demonstrated a lot of what the responsibility of a school board president actually is. And I think as we approach the ballot, and I want you before you leave to tell us when is election day, when is early voting, and just kind of tell people how they can reach out to you or support your campaign. Um, what is it in your view, what is the role, like if you had to dial it down to where a third grader could understand it, if they look at their school, they know who the principal is and they know the principal's job, they know the vice assistant principal's job, they know their teacher's job, they know the job of the person who is the engineer for the school. What is the job from a third grader's view of the school board president?
So we preside over the meetings, where we do three things. We have accountability for the superintendent, we pass the budget, and we make policy. That is what the board does as a whole. Now,
Okay.
the school board president, as I am in that position, it is my job to build consensus with the other 8 districts so that we can pass policy and pass the budget for the benefit of our students. So that is what we do together. I am just one vote on the school board. However, I have a working relationship with everybody on the board. So that means that I'm already kind of a step ahead when it comes to collaboration, because I do believe that that is my job, to collaborate with those from around the county to make sure that we're getting things done.
Awesome, awesome. So tell me this before we go. I want you to tell us about everything voting, election day, early voting. And there's been some talk about, I don't know if it's too late, but there's been some talk about people needing to check the voter rolls to make sure that they are on it. Has that timeline passed,
I
or is
believe
it still time?
I believe it's by Friday, but I will double check and get that information to you.
Okay.
Um, you do need to check because if you've moved or if you haven't voted in recent elections, they are purging and getting, rid of people, unfortunately. Um, Early voting starts May 2nd, and the actual vote for the primaries is May 24th. I want to make it clear, though, that our election, the school board election, that is our race. So it's one and done on May 24th. It is the primary for a lot of other races.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, say that again. So on May 24th, is that's it? Like
That's
there
it
will
for me. Hmm.
so hmm. Okay, this is really gonna be interesting.
Yes.
Wow. Because I think people were thinking that, okay, we'll see who rises to the top of the three, and then we'll go to another election day and be able to vote for one of the two that rose to the top. No, not so much.
Mm-mm. It is our race is really unique in that the primary is our race. So
Hmm.
whoever you vote for, unless we go into a runoff, that is going to be the school board president.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think I was thinking of the runoff situation there. Okay. So, Ty, tell me this finally as we close. Um, Tell us what sets you apart from the other candidates in the race, and why is it that you should be the person that comes out on top on May 24th?
Okay. I think one of the main things that sets me apart is that I've been working inside the school system as a volunteer for nearly a decade. So when Schumann Elementary School needed a new HVAC system, I worked for over a year to get them a $1 million HVAC system. When I saw that we needed more books in our library, I wrote a grant to get that. I've worked with, staff and parents, administrators to navigate through this system. I was a PTA parent at a school where my children didn't even go, because I saw a need there. And whatever issue that comes to me in this school system, I have solved it. I don't stop until I get the job done. So I've had hands-on experience again for this almost a decade navigating through this system, educating parents, because let's be honest, sometimes it's not easy to communicate in this school system. But when I find out information, I pass that along so that other families can benefit from it. So I think working and navigating through that system, I have 3 kids who are gifted, who are at choice schools. So I've gone through that whole audition process about 5 times and successfully navigated through that. Um, I think that I have been afforded the opportunity to work in the school system on all different levels, and I can bring that experience to the board.
Well, listen, I'm so glad you stopped by today to share with us. I hope that you were able to get everything out. I don't know if there's anything pressing about something that was left unsaid at a debate or a forum that you all may have had. And then before you go, if you could just let us know what's coming up in terms of meetings, events, forums, or debates. I know when I ran in 2019, I was debated out. I'm so not looking forward to the campaign trail. I love meeting people and connecting, but good Lord Jesus. Ah. Oh,
Yes, and
somebody
it's
said today is the last day to register.
oh,
Miss
thank you, Miss Tanya.
Tanya Howard Hall says today is the last day to register. So you all, well, today was the last day to register.
Was
I
the
don't know if you
last
can go
day.
online and register tonight, but yeah. So it's if there's nothing that you any parting words or anything was left undone. I've heard you all at the League of Women Voters forum at the Coastal Georgia Center, And that was the first time I've heard all three candidates. So we are just happy that our community is engaged and participating in the political process. And we want to encourage everybody to just go online. I believe that was hosted by WJCL. I think WSAB has hosted a panel as well. And so you can go on those affiliate platforms on their web pages and pull it up and just listen to the candidates. And I say to people who chart their course for elected office, in 2019, and as much as we thought people were not paying attention, they were. A lot of money was poured into those elections. A lot of heavy endorsements, primarily from our local newspaper, was poured into those elections, and almost all who raised the most money and who got the most big name endorsements, they lost. And they lost because they were out of touch with the public. Someone called me about a fundraiser of my opponent, of some of the heaviest hitters in the city, and as if I was supposed to be moved. I told y'all, I don't plan to be killed doing this work. We're going to keep it candid. We're going to do the work that we're set to do, but I'm not going to rob, steal, borrow, and sell myself. Remember, I can't help because somebody else is sold. My tagline when I entered this race was not for sale. And so we want to remind individuals that are running for office that not only are people looking for your name on the ballot, but they're looking for your time and talent recognition. They're looking for the value added that you have contributed to the community. So while name and face recognition matters, what matters most is talent and commitment. And so with that, we wish you well, and we look forward to working with you if you are to rise to the top. And as I stated at the top of the show, African American women are excelling politically across the nation. And I think because of who we are and what we represent, when we sign up to care, everybody gets taken care of. So best wishes to you. And we will see you on the trail.
Thank you so much for having me. I do want to, if you don't mind, just
yes, please.
Remind people that when we have candidates who talk badly about our kids and talk badly about our school system and make blanket comments like, our kids can't read, and I have children in the school system and they can absolutely read, as a matter of fact, read above their grade level. We have to look at that and ask ourselves, do they really have our kids' interest at heart? Do they really believe in them? And so I just want to make it very clear that homegrown, on boots on ground, working with kids in the school system, those are the qualities that we look for in people that lead our school system. So you can check me out at www.votefortye.com and follow me on Facebook at voteforty.com. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for that point. And, that's something that's right along the lines of my belief systems. We don't give up on anybody, right? And we recognize that our world is filled with different learners. And I have 3 children with varying abilities and personalities. And, I have extremely high achiever. I have one that's like kind of moderately lazy, and one who kind of struggles a little bit academically. But that one reminds me that the world is mostly managed by C students. I adore educators. I adore educators who um, align themselves with the notion that you don't give up on any kid. We have to
Right.
harness wherever they are. It's good to say that you are an exceptional educator when you are teaching gifted kids. But the
Mhm.
true test of your worth and your value is, can you take a child with a certain deficiency? Can you take a
See,
child with a
do you
certain
see do you see mine in the background?
I
There we
love
go.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Can you take a child from one place of can't to another place of can? That's the true test of your worth as an educator. So, my spirit is aligned with yours. We don't give up on any kids. And, while merit does matter, we also know that all kids matter. So, with
Yes.
that, my friend, I want to say to you, thank you so much for stopping in and stopping by. And we will be extending our platform to other candidates along the way. And if before May 24th, this is April 25th now, we see fit to have you back, we will certainly do that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, good night.
Bye bye.
And go get dinner. Go get dinner. That's
Oh,
what they're coming in there for. They're waiting for their food.
that's right. Have a good evening.
Bye bye. So listen, Savannah. Listen, listen, listen. Before I end, I do want to finish talking to you about um, our police department. Um, we want to acknowledge that we are concerned. We have had more than our share. I think I practiced 32 in our last session together, and that was a statewide statistic. But we've had more than five here in the city of Savannah since the summer, right? And that's why it was so pressing on me. But what we want you all to know is, on average, we generally only have one or none, and so that issue coupled with where we are with crime, this report, this scathing report that we received from law enforcement police officers, acknowledging that they are kind of tired of being sick and tired. We are bleeding police officers profusely. More than four top level police officers, not the ones who have just been on the force as of a couple of years. We're talking people who have decades of investment on the force who are not ready to retire. They're leaving and they're going to other departments. I think we just lost one to SCAD security. Another one is going to another community. These individuals are leaving in droves, and it's not a good look for us. It's not a good situation for us here in Savannah. So what do we do? What do we do? While we do not embrace or want our police officers to be abused, we don't want our people to be abused, and we want justice for our victims, right? I am an advocate for police officers. Let's be clear. I am an advocate against police brutality. Let's be clear on that. I am a huge advocate for justice for all victims, from petty theft to the most egregious and heinous acts like murder and rape. Understand, if we are not approaching public safety in its totality from all perspectives, we are missing the mark and doing this community a disservice by continuously putting them in harm's way by our failure to act as leaders. And when you elected a leader, when you sent a post one representative to City Hall to advocate for you, and through the maneuvering of a rule of council or a majority on council who closed and iced me out and disallow our ability to come to the table for discussion, for action, recommendations, we are grossly being misled. So when we go forth, I want you to know that we are doing the best we can. I am doing the best I can, but I need your help. I need your help. I need you to write to your media affiliates and acknowledge that you are not interested in maintaining the subscription or watching television and the commercials. If they are continuing to provide cover for the mess that this administration has made, as opposed to the coverage that this community deserves and needs. I want you to write to them and tell them that you expect more integrity and that you expect more journalistic responsibility. If the adage or the taglines or the slogans of some of these stations, I don't know which one, is holding the powerful accountable, if it's not consistent with reporting crime in real time, if it's not consistent and letting you know the level of mismanagement of the coffers of the city of Savannah, if it's only consistent with the sensationalism of interpersonal or broken personal relationships on council, and then what about our county commission? What about our state level representatives, the senator, the representative? Let's stop with the drama of the characters and start leading with responsibility. And so, what we want to do is go forth and recognize if doing too much is not going to get people what they need, we will continue to do the best we can until they get exactly what it is that they need. And so, with that, I just want you all to know that I am gravely concerned about where we are. Um, and while we go forth not desiring to politicize any of these issues, because today or tomorrow, if our council's majority uh, were collective on an effort or a policy uh, or an item that will bring pause to where we are, I wholeheartedly will embrace it and support it. If collectively this council would have real teeth to a response to homelessness in this community, when it comes to housing affordability, transitional housing, workforce housing, whatever housing they want to call it, if they want to come up with an action item, a program, a policy that protects our communities. Yeah, we're still slow rolling impact fee policy, by the way. If we wanted to do that, I would totally embrace it. And I am not inclined to be against it simply because I'm running for public office, simply because I'm running for the highest office in the city. I will be the first to support it because I do not want to relegate the health and safety or risk another life being lost on the streets of Savannah. I do not want to put another police officer in harm's way and having to pull his gun or her gun and shoot another citizen in the city. I do not want to be in the way of cleaning our streets of homeless persons. I don't want it. I don't want to be in the way of that type of progress just to say he's not doing anything. I dare you, Van Johnson. I dare you. I dare you to stop using the city of Savannah's coffers for your own personal use. I dare you. I dare you to survey the city of Savannah's surplus properties and start in rapid speed, as rapid as developers are building on Montgomery Street, as rapidly as the 17-story high rise at SCAD is going up, as rapidly as the development that's happening all across the city and infill properties in some of our vulnerable neighborhoods that are becoming gentrified, I dare you to establish transitional workforce and affordable housing. I dare you to put forth strong policies that are going to help us clear the medians of our homeless population and get them into mental health support, get them into services. I dare you to reverse the decision to destroy Yamakra. I dare you to reverse the decision to desecrate the weeping time. I dare you to put those residents who still don't have a place to go, who were forced out of Clearview. I dare you to do it. I dare you to do it. And if you do it, and when you do it, I still will become the 68th mayor of the city of Savannah. Because what you have done to this community for the last 16 years as the first district representative is what you are now doing to this entire city of Savannah. The chickens have come home to roost. Let's go, Savannah. Yes, I'm still running for mayor. Have a good night. I love you, Savannah.
I like that.